Alice falling down the rabbit hole. Alice falling out past what you know. Keep your eyes wide, stay in the glow. Alice falling, let the secrets show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Alice Falling podcast. I am your host, Tammy, and with me today is my awesome co-host, Dave. Dave, how are you?
Good, yourself?
Fantastic. Couldn't be better.
Excellent.
Yes.
And with us today as well, we have Chris Todd. He's an investigator. He's a private investigator. He's an author, well known for his work in numerous high-profile cases. One extremely dear to my heart, the Kurt Cobain story. What's going on there? I'll keep it short and simple. As far as Kurt Cobain is the reason I bought a guitar and was in a band for 20 years of my life. Chris, welcome to the podcast.
Welcome.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Tammy and Dave. Yeah, and that's really cool that you were inspired by Kurt to get into music. That's great.
For sure. I guess because we are on the Canadian side of things and majority of our listeners are Canadian, we get you started with just like an introduction to who you are for those who might not know you and why you are qualified to talk about what we're going to talk about today.
Sure, absolutely. And I'm honored to be with you guys, and I'm so glad to have an audience or stage that's outside of the United States of America. I'm going to tell you straight up right now, I've had it. I'm so fed up with the American media. It's pathetic. And I'm glad to be here. I feel kind of like refreshed that I get to talk to you guys and get to talk to Canadians. I'm actually part French. This will sound weird. I am part French deep back. So it's going to be great. Yeah, my name's Chris Todd. I'm an investigator, author, journalist. I used to work in Hollywood. I was a producer, writer, director. Wasn't the most successful guy. I did some big stuff. I wasn't Steven Spielberg or Oliver Stone by any means. And I transitioned into investigations, journalism. I wrote 8 books. I was #1 on Amazon with the Kim Porter, Sean Combs book. Very proud of that story. I was banned on Amazon all over the world. That's a big story that you can look up. And I've done some very high profile cases. I've been inside them. I've partnered with killers and accomplices and witnesses. I've written books with them. I've written books about them. So I'm on like a seesaw. It depends which way I'm going to go. Do I like you? Do I not like you? Do I feel the story needs to be exposed, or should there be a fantastic twist to it to keep mystery? And I have a special surprise for you guys today to feed off of the last big podcast you did with Nick Bryant.
Fantastic. I am looking forward to this.
Perfect. And with Nick Bryant, we had the Franklin scandal. We'll get towards the end, sure. But let's open up the gates with the Kurt Cobain stuff.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, as a normie, or I'm gonna position myself as a normie, and Tammy can play along quickly. Yeah. I'll recite to you as far as what probably the average person thinks happened throughout that 5, 6, 7 day span in 1994, starting in like late March and then early April. Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, or the story for me, Kurt leaves his home in Seattle, gets punched by Chris because he's leaving a intervention they were having there to go to an actual rehab place down in California. He makes it down there, and then if I remember from diving into much of your work, that this story does start on a certain day and then it goes over midnight. So certain days get confusing for the first time around for people that might be like listening to it and try to keep track of what's going on. But so he gets down there on the night of the 30th or 31st, something like that.
30th? Yeah, I think the night of the 30th is a Wednesday. Yeah.
Right. Spends that night, then the day and the night, and then the following day leaves.
Friday. Yep. Friday night he leaves.
Right.
Yep.
Leaves. Discrepancy on whether or not he had to like bust out of the place, or I think in your words, it's like you could just walk out through the front door. Nobody's going to stop you. Right. All 5'8" of them, and how athletic he was, just jumped that wall. Gets on a plane, and then another part that I found sketchy that I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think you somewhat agree is just Duff McKagan's on the plane.
I believe that happened.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I believe
how
that. I believe
how
that.
cordial they were. Like, didn't they have beef with Guns N' Roses?
I don't think so. Not well. It's different when you sit next to the guy, right? And like you could have beef in the public eye, right?
Right.
But then when you sit next to him and you're two of the most famous rockers in the world, and you're on the same plane, you're probably like, "Hey, I'd rather talk to this guy than some Joe Schmo."
Yeah,
Like
true.
next to me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep, true. Okay, so then he lands back in Seattle.
yeah,
Um, Gets picked up. Duff was gonna offer him a ride or something, and then he just magically
yeah,
disappeared into a limo.
yeah. It's a weird story.
Right? And then gets dropped off back at the house, and somewhere in the span of the next 2 or 3 days ends up partying with the people that are back at his house. When
Right.
those people leave, he decides he's going to unalive himself, and then his body gets found however many days later. Big discrepancy on the main story as far as the actual day of his unaliving
Right.
compared to what it most likely it could
Absolutely. Yeah.
be. The investigation, as far as that's concerned, is a pretty much a no investigation.
Right.
On the scene, and not too long after, they announced that he took his own life. Nobody gets questioned. There was people leading up to and even past apparently his unaliving, and nobody from that crowd of people gets questioned about anything
Right.
officially. And Courtney Love reads that note where 80% of that note was probably written well before the day, and then the four
Right.
lines underneath blatantly don't match the writing
Right.
that's above. And the rest of our world, anybody that pays attention to the case on a general basis, either goes under the camp of Courtney Love had something to do with it and got him killed, or no, he was a druggie and had mental problems and was just down on himself, and he actually did kill himself. So
Right.
that being said, based on your investigations, kind of expand on that and then give us a more accurate painting,
Yeah,
if you don't mind.
sure. Yeah. And I don't want to, I mean, there's so much. I mean, we could be here for a week. There's
Right.
so much stuff that happened when you started that timeline right there, like on Wednesday, March 30th, and you take that all the way to April 8th, a lot of stuff went down. And there's a lot of deception about who was there, what really happened. It's insane. This is one of the strangest true crime cases I've ever seen or worked. Okay. Let's start at the beginning. Now, the Chris Novoselic punching, when Kurt punched him, I don't think that's Wednesday. That was a separate time. Okay. That was a different time that Chris tried to bring Kurt to rehab. The day on Wednesday, okay, he's picked up by this limo driver, the Harvey Ottinger character. There's a lot of discrepancy. He said Friday, what he meant Wednesday. He can't be picked up Friday. He has to be picked up on Wednesday, March 30th. Okay. Kurt's picked up. He goes to the airport. Now, that day, supposedly, because I have the receipt, so does the world, that Kurt and Dylan Carlson bought a 20 gauge Remington Model 11 shotgun that day. Okay. That afternoon. That's on the receipt. And there's a copy of it with it dated. Okay. We can go into that a little bit. I don't want to, let's just keep moving with the timeline.
Yeah.
He goes to the airport. He's dropped off. He's by himself. He's going to Exodus, which is in like Marina Del Rey or Playa Del Rey or whatever, Santa Monica, wherever. He's going to go there. He's supposed to be there for, I think, a week, but he basically leaves pretty early. And he's going to leave on Friday, which is April 1st. He's going to jump the wall, or he's going to walk out the door, and he's going to head back and get on that flight. And he's going to see Duff McKagan on that flight, and he's going to land around midnight, 1 a.m. The time's going to switch over to April 2nd. He's going to get home around 1:30 with this limo driver who is supposedly a woman, whether it was a limo or a cab, a town car, I'm not fully sure. She drives him home. I drop Kurt Cobain off at 1:30 a.m. She is sort of the last person to ever see him alive. Okay.
Yeah.
And when he gets home, there's already people in the house. Joseph Burns, Bonnie Dillard, who goes by Benita Kelsey, Callie DeWitt, Renee Navarrete. Now, supposedly Dylan's not here and Mark Lanigan's not here yet. Jen Adamson's there. Who's Jen Adamson? That's the half-sister of Macaulay Culkin.
Wow.
Why is she there?
Interesting.
Right. Because she's very good friends with Bonnie and Callie. She's actually dating Callie, who is Michael DeWitt. Also, who's there is Jessica Hopper. Jessica Hopper is the rock journalist who worked for Courtney Love, who is a 16-year-old kid. Right. They're already at the house. See, so they lied to you when they said they didn't see Kurt. And so if there was any type of investigation, we would know through Joseph's confession, Bonnie's confession, to multiple people that they were there when Kurt was murdered. Okay. And I'll explain some of that.
Wow.
Yeah. So if any of those people were actually investigated, okay, maybe they could have figured out, wait, who was here on the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th? They were there the whole time. They were there after he was gone. Now, I believe through my investigation, through Joseph, through our other sources, our PIs, all the people, at first we thought he was killed on April 2nd, the first night he's back, meaning late morning of April 2nd or early morning. We had to switch the timeline. We pushed it a day because Joseph has a hard time remembering key things. He's a recovering addict. He was a former drug dealer. He's a former felon. Okay. His brain is not all there. Okay. And that's okay. Okay. I told somebody else this the other day. Witnesses, they don't step out of a limo in a tuxedo. They're not going to be wearing a suit and tie and say, would you like to know how Kurt Cobain was murdered? Have a seat. I want to show you. That's not how it works. That's not how God works. So Joseph had the courage after all these years, and he talked to a couple of people a few years ago during COVID. There was a guy in Europe. There was another guy in Massachusetts. They kind of were poking him. Everybody was at home, bored out of their minds, right? And he kind of was playing the game with them, and so was Bonnie Dillard. And Bonnie and Joseph were girlfriend and boyfriend. And they were both heroin addicts, and they both were dealers. And, you know, Bonnie changed her life, and that's good for now, but she needs to come forward, and she kind of won't. But we placed Kurt Cobain being murdered on Easter Sunday at about 2 a.m. That's April 3rd, 2 a.m. If somebody wants to say it was Monday, cool. If I'm off a day, I don't care. I don't care. I know this guy was murdered, period. I don't care if it's Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. I know it's not Tuesday. I know it's not. Okay? It can't be. These people that say they saw Kurt at the restaurant, tavern, whatever, I think are full of crap. When they say they saw him on Sunday night at 11 p.m., he paid with a check, he didn't have any. You're the only people that saw him. Where's everybody else? There's nobody in the place that saw him but you, but the waiter and the manager.
Sorry to cut you off. That sighting there would have been after the sighting where in the morning he went to go get shotgun shells too?
Yeah, now, well, let's talk about that. That's not Kurt Cobain getting them. That's not him. See,
right.
So on April 2nd, so if we back up now, April 2nd is a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
He's already home. Let's say we stick to Joseph's book and his timeline.
Yeah.
Kurt stays up late. They do heroin. Joseph's there. They don't even sleep. Joseph says, I didn't sleep when Kurt was there the first night, I didn't sleep at all. The next day, the daytime, when the sun comes up, we haven't slept. Now we're on Saturday. We're going to go all the way to the nighttime. Now in the morning at about 10 a.m., might have been early. I think it was 8 a.m. The gun store's not open yet. Someone gets in this cab, this Ethiopian cab driver says someone got in my cab at 8:30 a.m. I can't confirm it's Kurt Cobain. He never could. They asked him. They showed him pictures. He's like, I can't say that's him. I don't think it's him. That's either Callie DeWitt or Renee Navarrete. Going to the store to buy shotgun shells and get the receipt. And they have to go to a diner. This is what you're talking about, possibly.
Yes.
Someone sees someone at a diner that they think is Kurt. It's probably not Kurt. Kurt Cobain's going to wake up at 8 a.m. and he's going to go buy shotgun shells. Does that make any sense to you?
Right.
Is he shooting
after partying?
Yeah, and he wants to do some skeet shooting in the backyard. So he's gonna go at 8 a.m. One of the most famous rockers in the world. He's just gonna go out by himself. Like, it's a setup. It's all, see, this is where you gotta be careful. Is Kurt dead right here? Think about it. What if Joseph is off? What if he is killed the first night he comes back? What if he's already dead? And they go, we need to shoot him in the face, or we need to stage the shells. What if they had other shells for the gun? We don't know. There's no receipt of the shells. The receipt only shows a gun. Did that guy give them shells? Hey, Kurt, I'll throw in, or Dylan, I'll throw in a box of shells for free. Oh, thanks, man. That's easily possible. Absolutely. It's not going to be on the receipt. So
Right.
This is part of the mystery, is like buying these shells. Who's buying them and why? Is Kurt still alive? Is he passed out? Do they want to shoot, or is it part of a bigger plan?
And then,
Yeah.
again, this intrigues me now again, because when you started informing us on your investigation here, you mentioned how he supposedly went out and got that shotgun before he left for California.
The day he leaves.
Right. So why do you need a gun right then and there if you're leaving?
Exactly. Now, if we play both sides of it, the gun owner said there was a man behind Dylan. There was a guy in there with him. He never says it's Kurt Cobain. Okay. He says it looked like Kurt, right? And there's two guys. Okay. Now remember, Callie DeWitt used to dye his hair. He had long hair. Whether his hair was red, I don't know. At the time, I want to say it was red. Does he think that's Kurt Cobain? Kurt dyed his hair pink at one time. How's this guy know what color his hair is that day? You know what I mean? Yeah. So Dylan purchases the gun, puts the receipt in his name. Now, they have an easy excuse. Well, the cops came and they took all of Kurt's guns. That's true. There was the call. Courtney called. Oh, he's going to hurt himself and he's locked in the room. And most of that shit was not even true. Even Kurt said that after. That's not what happened. Okay? He wasn't suicidal. He didn't threaten to shoot anybody.
So I just want to stop you there for a second. So just for anybody that doesn't know, Kurt Cobain was known to have guns in his home. Yeah. So can you just confirm by this point, all of the guns had been taken from his home, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So on the, when that call came in, when Courtney did that, they did take the weapons from his house. You see, this is why it's this perfect, weird example. It gives Dylan Carlson kind of an out. Well, we didn't have any guns and he wanted a gun for protection to scare people. Okay, so you guys went and bought a Remington Model 11 20 gauge, which sort of makes sense, right? Because if you were to shoot somebody, you might not actually kill them, right? Now, going back to Kurt's stuff with the guns, remember, we have a lot of pictures of Kurt sticking a gun in his mouth. Now, I was told those are toys. When he did these shoots, right, with the band, he's put an M16 in his mouth. I was told that's a toy gun. It's actually not real. There's other ones where they're playing with the handguns. The song, I think, is about Dylan. And he likes to shoot his gun. And he likes all the pretty songs. Right. Sorry to destroy that song. But
no, that's okay.
I was about to join in.
Yeah. You're gonna
knows not what it means. Sorry.
Oh, baby. Go. Do it. Just, and so that was about Dylan. And they did like to shoot guns. Even Joseph said it. He goes, yeah, we like guns, man. We're punk rock and roll, dude. We give no fucks. You know what I mean? Like, it's not abnormal for them to shoot guns. That's what they did. Okay.
Right.
But would you buy a Remington Model 11 20 gauge to blow your head off? No, you would not. This
is the part that has always gotten me. And I love guns. I like to shoot guns.
Oh, okay.
And I can tell you, I have tried to figure out how he would have pulled that off many, many times, and I can't. So,
well,
let's get in. Let's get into that.
They do a video. Now, I want to give props to Michelle Wilkins. I think she's from Canada. You should definitely have her on. She's been really hot lately, getting all the media to pay attention.
Is that the Who Killed Kurt people?
Yes.
Okay,
That's Michelle Wilkins, Miss Pink Hair. And she's kind of the don't fuck with cats character. She's the internet sleuth with the passion, right? And I think she is the last bastion. I said this today to somebody else. She is the last hope for Kurt Cobain. I'm sorry to say it, because they won't let me do it. They don't ever let me solve any murders in America to the media. The cops are more apt to listen to me and they'll entertain it. But the media is a joke in America, the worst journalists in the world. So here's my point. A guy did put it in his mouth. Now it has a 5-inch muzzle, whatever you call it. I forgot the it'll come to me. The choke. It's a choke. It has a 5-inch choke on the end. I guess supposedly it makes the pellets go in a straight line more as opposed to spraying. So it's called a choke. For you to put it in your mouth, you would have to use your toe to do it. If you just use your hands alone, and you're 5'8", Kurt's size, right? You can do it. You're probably going to chip your teeth. You're probably going to eat that barrel, and you're going to strain the shit out of your shoulder to hit that trigger with your finger. Okay? It's not going to be easy. So it's possible to do it. And again, this is part of the whole story of like, well, I guess it's possible. See, I guess Kurt had a gun. I guess Kurt was suicidal. Look at this picture of him holding an M16 in his mouth. You're right.
Right.
You see my whole point?
Yeah.
It's like that's what God does. He's not going to give it to you. He's going to make you work. He's going to confuse you a little bit. Okay? And I don't know why, whether it's a sense of humor or it's mystery or there's a little devil mixed in. So now the other guy does the thing where he holds the barrel, and they try to say this shell will not eject from the gun with a guy holding the barrel without the stock pushed up to his shoulder, right? Have you ever seen this video on YouTube?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. So that guy, give him props for doing it too. And I don't know if it's true. Look, I'm not a gun expert. I believe the guy probably did it, and that's probably what happened, right? I don't know. I've never shot a gun with one hand on the barrel and pulled the trigger and that's not what I do. Now, he's trying to prove and say a shell will not eject because the gun has an auto eject. Okay. So is he right? Maybe. I have an issue with this because when Kurt's sitting, if Kurt did it, how do we know if he's got the stock to his foot? How do we know it slides on the thing? He's only holding the barrel. The stock's not going to kick against something. We know the shell's on the wrong side of the ejection chamber, right? We know that, okay? 100%. So to me, what I think happened is whether the two killers, right? They say there's maybe 3 guys in there. Let's say one of them takes the gun and lays down next to Kurt, sticks it in his mouth. That stock is against his shoulder. When he fires it, the shell goes to the right. When they place the gun in Kurt's hands, they turn it upside down, and the smackheads forget the shell's on the wrong side.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Alice Falling is brought to you by The Based Company. Check out our line of Awake t-shirts made in Alberta, Canada, and explore a world of hidden knowledge and declassified documents. Visit us at estunknown.co.
And now, back to the Alice Fizzle Po Dizzle.
I think here's a perfect spot where we could pause there, and we've set up the picture of what it's looking like with Kurt and a shotgun around him. And let's track back to, you kind of left off as far as what supposedly the story is when he got back from the rehab and what the mainstream explanation is of him being cited somewhere and whatnot. But as far as you're concerned, he got back and what was happening in that house and what took place as far as your investigation
right
goes.
Yeah, I want to stick to the book, right? Because I don't want to hem and haw and go maybe this, maybe that. Let's just stick to the timeline. They go through, they party, they shoot up, they hang out, they play music. Joseph talks to Kurt about some cassette tape. He's like, he's entertaining leaving Nirvana and doing a solo thing. And they talk about that. That's been going on for weeks before. Kurt's been talking about that, whether he's going John Lennon. He liked John Lennon. He loved the Beatles. Like, I don't know, but they party. Next day comes, they're tired. Someone goes and buys shotgun shells. Let's say Kurt's still alive. They're hanging out. Maybe they do fire the gun. The bullets are all there. There's 2 in the gun, 1 spent. There's only 3 missing in the box. Did they have some other bullets? Maybe another box from the thing. I don't know. Did they fire guns? Maybe. Saturday goes through, more partying, more hanging out. Nobody sees Kurt. Nobody talks to Kurt except supposedly in the morning that Kurt talks to Courtney Love in the morning briefly, or he calls, asks for her. They don't put her through. There's a lot of weird stuff with this at the Peninsula. Kurt's alive on Saturday. Nobody else talks to him. Nobody else sees him at all. Only the people that are in the house. Now we're going into the nighttime, late Saturday. Here comes Dylan and Mark Lanigan showing up with somebody else. 3 guys. They show up around 1 a.m. It's late. This is where Joseph says when they came, they didn't drive a car. They did not park in the driveway. They walked up to the house. They come into the house and Joseph notices right away they're up to no good, to quote his book. Something's wrong. Where's Kurt? What are you guys doing? He's downstairs. What's up? And they make like this beeline for the basement. In that basement is Bonnie Dillard, Joseph Burns, Jen Adamson. Can I place Jessica Hopper in that basement? No. Can I place Renee Navarrete? No. Callie most likely is in the basement. If we just focus on Joseph saying it was me, Bonnie, and Jen, and one of the girls screamed when Kurt was assaulted and attacked. I do remember that. That's how he kind of talks about it, right?
Right.
And they're hot-shotting Kurt. They're wrestling him kind of. That's why when Michelle brought up with Brian Burnett, there's intramuscular stabs. The needle is hitting muscle. Why? You don't shoot up in the muscle. You shoot up in the veins.
Right.
Because they're missing. He's moving. Okay. There's also forced entry where there's bruising and bleeding. Like he's being forced. It's too hard. Okay. So he's assaulted. He's attacked. He is rendered unconscious. Now, Joseph knows at that moment somebody should have done something. Whether he should have ran and got Callie, I don't know. Is Callie down there and didn't do anything? I don't know. I know Joseph's there. I know Bonnie's there. And I know Jen Adamson's there. Jen is dead. She died in 2000. Bonnie is still alive, will not talk. That's a red flag right there. After that, Kurt's carried out of the basement. Is he alive at this point? Probably. Sometimes we say peri-mortem. It's around the time of the death, right? A little before, a little after, we don't know. Kind of like John Bonet. She got hit in the head before she's dead or choked first. Which one? We don't, it's peri-mortem. He's carried to the greenhouse.
Sorry, quick interruption. He's being carried because he's been injected with the what?
Yes. He's
3 times, 5 times, 10 times the amount of heroin needed to
minimum 5 times. Jesus. Now, there's some people that say like, oh, he's 10 times, 20 times. I saw a book say 70 times. I don't know where they're coming up with that.
So safely 5 times.
5 times. An addict can die at 0.23.
Wow.
That's an addict who has a tolerance. If a normal person, me, some random dude, I mean, probably at 0.18, 0.15, maybe you're dead. From my research I did, I would always see the number of 0.23, 0.35, 0.38, 0.4. Nothing ever even approached 1.5, ever. Of every case I've looked at. Never even seen it. So that's 5. I just say 5 times. There's 5 times the amount.
Yep, makes sense.
Yeah, he's unconscious. He's definitely unconscious at this moment. That's why Joseph says they carry him. He's dragging his feet. He's not walking. He's being dragged. He's taken out. Joseph's freaking out. He's high as a kite too. You know, it's not his fault. I mean, he's not an accessory to murder. That's not what an accessory is. He's a witness. Okay. They take him to the greenhouse. Now he's getting curious. And the book will describe this to Kurt. I'm sorry. It'll talk about it. He's hemming and hawing. One of the girls screamed. They're crying. What's going on? They're all shocked. They're all high as a fucking kite. Okay. It's freaking 2:30 in the morning. They haven't slept yet. And they just watched probably, which to them was probably surreal, to watch maybe the voice of his generation being wrestled in it. What just happened? Okay. Yeah. Now, the way Joseph says it too, because when I do it on the tape, you can go to Ian Scotto Rocks on YouTube. I leak some of Joseph's confession tape per his permission. He goes to smoke a cigarette because he's curious. What are they doing? So he goes outside, but he's not going to go in the greenhouse because, like he said in his tape, which I have more of, and like he says in his book, I'm not trying to get killed myself. If I walk up there, and I said, I get it, bro. You don't even need to explain it. He goes, you know what I'm saying, right? I'm like, you don't want to walk in. He goes, I'm not going to walk in after what I just saw. And now I'm going to walk in on them, whatever they're doing up there, and I'm going to get killed, right? So, and did he want to go up there? Yeah, probably. He hears the gunshot about 30, 40 minutes, you know, whether he goes to smoke the cigarette like 20 minutes later and he's milling out there, he's looking up. He talks about seeing movement, like silhouettes in the window through the French doors, right? He's looking at the front of the greenhouse, not the back. Then he hears a blast. One blast. Okay. That's probably to place it at 3:15, 3:30, 3:45, depending, you know, give a little room for error, right? So, and then at that point, now he goes, like he says, I get the fuck out of there. I go back into the house, into Callie's room, right? I'm like, okay, then do those guys come in? He goes, yeah, later, like an hour or two later, they come in and they look crazy. And he's like, where's Kurt? And they're like, man, you don't want to deal with any of this. You don't want it. It doesn't matter. You don't want to do any of this. And they're talking to him in this cryptic way. And he fucking knows. Right then, he knows. Kurt's gone.
Yeah.
And then they leave. Dylan and Mark leave. They come back the next day to keep staging. Okay. There's a lot of details about, and they stay there. Bonnie stays there. Jessica Hopper's still there. She even tells you, well, I don't remember if I left on Monday or Tuesday and I threw up in the driveway. Why don't you tell the truth, Jessica? You were fucking there when it happened.
And none of these people get like interviewed or interrogated by Seattle police.
Not one.
Wow.
And they'll lie to you and say, well, the cops talked to Dylan. What do you mean they talked to Dylan? Oh, they asked him about when he lied and said, oh, I was in the limousine with Harvey Ottinger and Kurt. No, you weren't, because Harvey came forward and goes, it was just Kurt. And so they have a police report where Dylan's trying to say, well, I was in the limo and we drove him to the air. No, you didn't. Harvey said you weren't in there. And I'm not saying, how do I know for 100% that Harvey's telling the truth all this way too? Because he's flown off the rails himself. So, you know, basically, I think Dylan bought the gun. I don't think Kurt was there. He might have been there. Maybe he's like, yeah, buy the gun. Fuck it. I'm leaving tonight. Get the gun for the house. If anybody's fucking around, fucking pump them full of lead. I don't give a shit. I'm going to rehab. Whatever. There's all these scenarios you could draw up in your head. So, but I do believe the people at Linda's Tavern, whatever you want to call it, I think they're full of shit. They didn't see Kurt at 11 p.m. They want to debate me. Come on. Come out. Pop out. Start talking. Wow. All these people like saying this shit. And I got the other guy, Charles Peterson, to admit, because there used to be a rumor that Charles Peterson saw him. And he told me directly, he goes, I didn't see Kurt. That never happened. I go, I believe you. I know no one saw Kurt. And the other thing, when you have a celebrity like that, if he was to die on Tuesday the 5th, 6, 7, 8. Tuesday's the 5th, right? This is the day they say, like you tried to lead in, the normies, it's the 5th. Okay, that's a Tuesday. No one saw Kurt Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. No one talked to him on the phone. No one saw him anywhere. So we're just to believe Kurt just sat around the house with no food in there.
Jeez.
He never went out to get a bite to eat. He never called anybody. Really? It's not possible. That's not how celebrities live. Usually they talk to other celebrities, right? And somebody would have come forward, right? And said, I talked to Kurt on Monday morning. Yeah, I saw him Monday, or I saw him Sunday night. Looked good. Everything was fine. They're not going to hide that. They want to help out.
Well, not only that, but like, let's not forget his wife was a celebrity also. Like,
right.
Why are they not talking?
Well, Courtney sang like a canary, but she twisted this, as one of my old clients used to say, she began to spin her yarn, right? She basically told this web. Oh, I met Tom Grant. Tom Grant says, well, I was called on Easter. Well, now let's match up the dates. And I'm going to believe a lot of what Tom says. Tom says that on 10 a.m. on Sunday, which is Easter, he was on the phone working when nobody else was working. And she went through a phone book and just called him after other PIs didn't answer their phone. So she got him and he actually answered. It's Easter Sunday. Now, wait a minute. Is Kurt dead at this moment at 3 a.m.? And Courtney gets a little phone call from Dylan or Mark Lanigan? It's all done. We're good. Because now Courtney's going to send a PI, not up to Seattle, but she's going to whisper in somebody's ear, my husband's missing, and I'm canceling his credit cards. Supposedly, Kurt actually canceled those credit cards and not her, but that's for another time. And so that's Easter. Tom Grant gets on board, and that starts the Tom Grant journey. Right there. And he goes over to the peninsula on Easter Sunday and he meets her and she's high as a kite. And there's some other woman in there. And Ben Statler replays this in Soaked in Bleach. And the actor plays Tom Grant. Watch it. Have you ever seen it? I don't know.
Yep. No, I have. For sure.
They play it out for you. Right.
They do. And then now let's get to discovering his body. Courtney Love also has a little sway in as far as directing the person kind of that discovered the body, no?
That is insane.
Right? Like, on top of what you've told me already, I'm ready to reopen up the file and get this going. And the fact that it hasn't been, and we're not even anywhere close to being done.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. Like, even when I'm saying it, I watch my old interviews because I want to see how my delivery is. Should I not do this when I do that? Sometimes I watch my old Cobain stuff. I'm like, what is this story? What's going on? I'm like, if anybody listens to me say this, do they actually look over their shoulder and be like, does anyone see what this guy's saying? Like, is Kurt murdered? And why is there no media? Even if this guy's a whack job, somebody should look into what he's saying. Like, it's just stupid. So here's the thing. Let's get into that. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Tom Grant. Because Tom Grant called me an asshole and a douchebag on the phone. So this one's for you, Tom. So Tom Grant says he didn't find the body. Well, what if I can prove he did? That would be weird, wouldn't it? So Tom says, well, when I went up on Wednesday night and then I went to the diner with Dylan, it was about 1 a.m., 2 a.m. It changes over to, it's now the 7th. It's Thursday morning and they play out that scene too. Kurt wasn't suicidal, man. Oh, he wasn't. What's going on? Like, Tom's like this, just, I don't even know what the word is for him. Gullible at this moment. What's going on? Let's go over to the house. Well, it's raining, right? Yeah, let's go. Okay, let's go over. They drive over. Dylan goes in the house and he disappears for 5 minutes. And Tom says, I didn't know where he was. I'm waiting in the car. Well, Tom, did you look straight ahead when you pulled into the driveway? There's a greenhouse right in front of you. So you know what Tom Grant says over the years? Well, there was a spotlight. I couldn't see it. There was a spotlight that blinded me. Fail. There was no spotlight because we have pictures. That didn't exist. Then he said, well, it was raining really hard. It's fucking Seattle. Why didn't you look in the greenhouse, Tom? Oh, I just didn't think to do it. Wait, I thought you were like the best PI. I thought you're like this cop. Yeah, he was a cop for a year. Why'd you get fired or quit? Why didn't you stay a cop, Tom Grant? So I believe, and I won't say who told me, Tom did see the body, but he can't say he did because he's sitting there with Dylan. And whether he's a plant for Courtney, I'm not accusing him of being a plant. Okay. Now let's say he didn't see the body. Dylan didn't know where it was. That's weird. Dylan was there multiple times during the week. Dylan knew there was a greenhouse. Why didn't Dylan take you over there? Exactly, because Dylan doesn't want to take you there. And then why does Mark Lanigan lie and say many years later, he says, hey, I flicked the cherry off my cigarette. I threw it on the side. I was by the steps of the greenhouse and I just had a really bad feeling. You know what? You know what Tom Grant said? Mark Lanigan, he said you weren't there. So why'd you make it up? Why are you now pretending you were there with them when they went to search? They said you're not there. See, it's all this deception. So my point is this. Tom Grant, you're either a bad PI or you saw the body. Any real PI would have searched up, down, attic, basement, backyard, down the street, the woods. Come on, dude. You can walk to the lake from the house.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Tom Grant did inspect the property prior to the body being found, correct?
Well, not the greenhouse, supposedly.
So that, and this is where they lose me because anybody, even if they aren't a private investigator, if you're looking for someone, you're looking for someone.
You're looking everywhere.
Right.
Like you don't have to press
a garage.
Yeah, I was going to say you don't have to press a piano key and a bookshelf slides open to get to that room.
Right. And when you're looking, okay, when you pull into that driveway, your headlights are shining on the garage and the greenhouse, literally. It's not that far. It's like 30, 40 feet in front of you. It's not attached to the house. It's separate. It's kind of perpendicular, whatever you call that, right? Like a L, right?
Right.
It's not parallel. It would cut across the dimensions of the driveway, and then the house is on the right and the greenhouse is in front of you. Okay. So for him to say it's raining, it was dark. Tom, you went back there twice. They first go at 2 a.m. Then they go back at 9:30 p.m. and they find the note on the stairs. Remember? Oh, Kurt, you're an asshole. He finds that letter and then he leaves it on the stairs. Dude, there's something going on, man. Like, come on. You leave the letter there? Yeah, I left it on the stairs. Why? That handwriting, first of all, looks like a woman's handwriting. Oh, Callie wrote it. That's not how men write. I mean, some could. Look closely at the letter. So he's there twice. When they go back at 9:30, because then they drive out to the Carnation thing. That's in the morning, right? Their little cabin. They go in the morning. That's when they find out the body's found. They turn around and come straight back to the house. He's there twice. So he's 0 for 2. It's not believable. It's just not. And this has always been Tom Grant's Achilles heel, right? This is his kryptonite. Because look, he did a good job recording. He's a bright guy. He's not an idiot. He's well spoken. He's thorough. He's got balls, right? I'm giving him like the positives of him. He stayed on the case for years. He could have been killed. Courtney could have had him killed. Like El Duce, wink, wink, allegedly, right? Yeah. Allegedly, he got murdered or he fell drunk on a train track 2 days after he told Nick Broomfield there was a murder offer for him to murder Kurt, wink, wink. So he's 0 for 2. There's no excuse. And I know he told another guy I know, I should never have said that. And because I know someone that befriended him, and because they're like, well, why'd you say there was a spotlight on the greenhouse? I shouldn't have said that. We know you shouldn't have, because there's proof there was no spotlight, floodlight. So look, whether he's trying to cover his butt, whether he doesn't want to address it, I just didn't think to go there. Hey, he's got to live with that the rest of his life. That doesn't matter anymore. You know,
So-
Dylan knew where Kurt was. Joseph Burns knew where Kurt was. Joseph saw his body in the greenhouse. He didn't admit that till finally when he was doing the book. Took him 2.5 years to say it. Because I finally, kind of forced him. I'm like, you saw the body, didn't you? No, I didn't see it. You never went to look in there. And he'd kind of like hem and haw, right? And I'd be like, over the months and more months. And I'd be like, yeah, I think you saw the body. And then I go, look, you want to sell a book? You want to make some money? You want to change your life? Come forward. Tell people what they don't know. And he finally said it. Yeah, I looked through the glass. I couldn't do it. I couldn't go in. I saw Kurt's sneakers tied the way they were tied. I know how he tied his shoes. I saw his Converse, and I did see him. I didn't look at his face. I didn't look at his head. Is he lying to me with that? Maybe. You don't press these guys too much, right? If he's giving me the shoes and the legs, I'll take it. That's it. So they all know. Jessica Hopper knows a lot. I threw up in the driveway. I got sick. Yeah, I bet you did get sick. Oh, I'm sure you felt pretty shitty.
Yeah. And I was going to say, so we're 45 minutes into this, and already just this, I feel like pressing pause, putting it on a USB stick, going to the fucking SPD, and just being like, how are you not reopening and looking at this?
Well,
yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Wilkins, and I'll just say it quickly, and then you go. Michelle Wilkins already sat with the chief of police and his underlings, and they've done nothing. She literally brought him the Brian Burnett medical examiner and all her research, and Joseph Burns, parts of his tape confession, parts of his audio, and they've done nothing. They've told you.
And then I was going to say, on top of that, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's within the last year, the last two most recent pieces of evidence has been that toxicology report released in the last year, and also evidence of, someone representing?
Autopsy. No, they had the toxicology.
Sorry, the toxicology report.
The autopsy was released by Tom Grant TMZ when somebody supposedly, it's a great story, this pretty girl supposedly, I won't say her name, supposedly went to Gary Cobain and took photos of it when he turned his back, and then she took it and gave it to somebody else, and then they gave it to Tom Grant, and Tom Grant gave it to Harvey Levin. And then TMZ put it up, and nobody saw the autopsy for 30 years. And I'm like, where'd this come from? Duh.
And that was within the last year, right?
That was a couple of years ago. Yeah, you can Google that. You'll see it online. It's missing pages, though. Supposedly, it's not the entire autopsy.
And then what about someone representing the Cobains, which would have been Courtney technically, like a year and a half or 2 years after the investigation, approaching the Seattle Police Department, just be like, thank you for your efforts in this investigation. We are very happy with the conclusion that you have come to. Now, please send us every single piece of evidence you have, and don't leave any behind at the police department.
Yeah. Burn after reading. Get rid of everything you have. Now, Michelle Wilkins is the one who found that document.
Wow.
She's the one. Yes, that's what I'm saying. She's the one who put it out. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about how she got it and where, whatever. That's for her to do, right?
Yeah.
Let's just say in the community, people kind of knew it existed, but nobody had ever seen it. So now that's why Harvey Levin, Jesse Weber, Daily Mail, New York Post, because when she started to show them, they're like, wait, what's this? And look, the media is more apt to have a celebrity get pointed at loosely than really tell you who did the murder, right? So it's a perfect story for them. Why is Courtney Love and her lawyer, Brian Coluccio, asking to burn the evidence? I thought you loved your husband. Like, we didn't say you murdered him, Courtney, but we have to retain the evidence. First of all, it's illegal. You can't destroy the murder book and the discovery file. It's not even legal.
Right. It's not like a photo album you're asking for back, like a family photo album.
You can't destroy it at all, period. It belongs to the city of Seattle. It doesn't belong to the Seattle PD. It belongs to the taxpayers, to the government. And also, you got to remember, this is maybe a quick interesting thing. The FBI has jurisdiction if there's police cover up or corruption, the people that it can investigate them are the FBI. It can become federal. They can use the Western District of Washington. That's their FBI district for King County. They can step in. Now you got a whole new problem. So they're not going to burn the files for you, Courtney.
I guess I'm going to throw one more question at you. Then I'm going to let Tammy segue us into the Franklin stuff.
Sure.
Question that I had kind of before this even started was, if you could, it's a very, very hypothetical question. If you could administer a truth serum to anybody, any key player in this whole scenario here, whether it be living or alive, minus Kurt himself, and then conduct a 1-hour interview televised on cable network TV, who would that person in the truth serum works? Who would you administer it to and why?
I can only get one.
One, yeah.
Dylan Carlson.
Okay. And just because you think that would be the end all be all questions answered that you would need, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Everything would be answered. Because remember, you're saying truth serum, right? Like he's going to talk. He's going to say the truth, right?
Has to, yeah. It has to answer everything you ask and has to answer truthfully or like
Dylan
no choice.
Carlson. Dylan is the nexus. He is the connection. I'm not saying Dylan pulled the trigger. I'm not. I can't say who did, right? There's 3 men in that greenhouse. We can't we know Joseph says Lanigan and Dylan. The other third people thought was Danny Clint Rich, and Joseph can't say that. He's still to this day, I don't know. Okay. We've shown him old pictures of Danny. Danny had a soft deathbed confession. There's tapes of him saying it. He's confusing. Geffen did it. Geffen Records, he knew a lot about stuff that he shouldn't know. I'll tell you that. I'm not saying Danny was there and, his son got mad and there were other people that got really upset and triggered. Danny died. He died of cancer, I believe. And it's a sad story. I spoke to Danny. I liked Danny. I told Danny before he died, you're clear in my eyes. He goes, thank you, Chris. I go, if you did it, but I don't have hard proof you did. Okay. But for you to make jokes about it, and he's like, yeah, I know I probably shouldn't have done that. But see, in the beginning, he denied he made the jokes. So then when it came out later, that was the guy who was at Ellen DeGeneres' house with Michael and Sarah Noonan, and he was dancing in the wig and saying, I hot-shotted Kurt Cobain. Why are you joking about it, man? I mean, we're not saying you did it, but you're saying you did it.
Yeah.
And the people Michael and Sarah Noonan ran to a guy named Matt Ricker, and they said, we met this really weird guy and he had a criminal record for forgery and fraud and he did this and that. And then when they looked him up, they're like, that is a real guy. And then all these years later, Matt tells either Bonnie or the guy in Europe, and somebody confirms either Joseph Bonnie or the guy in Europe and go, yeah, Danny Rich. Yeah, we know the name. He was there. That's a problem. Cause he's like, well, who is this guy? Now, whether they're confusing him or they just want to say he's there, to this day, there's supposedly 7 hours of tape that's held by Jason Jensen and Zach McQuaid. They both are holding the tapes and not releasing the tapes. So we don't know what is fully said on the tapes. So again, deception, hiding, secrets, it's insane. So Dylan Carlson. And remember, Nick Broomfield interviewed Dylan Carlson to his face. What do you think happened to Kurt? What about Kurt and Courtney? What did Dylan say? Well, if I thought somebody killed Kurt, they'd be dead. Oh, really, Dylan? That's easy to say. Oh, you sound like a great friend. I'd kill him. Oh, I bet you would. But you can't. Because you'd have to commit suicide or take out Lanigan. So look, Dylan was Kurt's best friend. They met on a bus. Kurt really loved Dylan. They wrote a song about him. Okay. Mark was a very good friend of Kurt's. They had dressed up in the dresses and laid in the bed and smeared the lipstick and they goofed around. Mark was a very talented guy, but he wasn't Kurt Cobain. And he was jealous of Kurt. And so was Dylan. And Kurt worked really hard to get where he was at. Really hard. He was not suicidal. He did not try to kill himself in Rome. He was poisoned with rohypnol. I won't say by who, but there was a couple of the players out there that were in that house that night too, that were in Rome. So I appreciate the pulpit to talk about this if you want to bring anything else with that up.
Yeah, I do have a couple questions for you. Courtney Love. So she has said, I think it was on Billy Corgan actually, that she was a child of MK Ultra.
Did she say it on there? I can't remember. I did watch the interview. Candace Owens brought this up. The CIA killed Kurt. So I don't know. You keep going. If she said that, you tell me what you want to hear or what you're saying.
I wonder your take on this, because there's been speculation over the years with her father's involvement with the Grateful Dead and all that type of stuff. Do you think she wanted Kurt dead? And if not her, and I this is pure speculation for everybody listening, if not her, who and why?
Potash, the investigative journalist and authors, talked about this, the CIA use of drugs in the music industry. Mm-hmm. He's definitely, this is his wheelhouse. I spoke to him before. He called me up out of the blue one time. This is his thing. And Hank Harrison, yes, did he drop acid with the Dead? Probably. Were they at Haight-Ashbury? I knew Ken Kesey. I did music with Ken Kesey. I used to live in Portland, Oregon. Ken Kesey did the experiments. Hoffman created the LSD. Timothy Leary, who was just smarter than any person I maybe have ever seen. Same with Ken Kesey. The guy won an Oscar for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, wrote the book and the story just out of the blue, right? You know what I mean? Like, so these guys were like these wizards. To me, they just brought the MK Ultra, the Manson shit with Tom O'Neill and all. For me, it's just not what I do. To me, I feel like CIA government, they don't give a fuck about you.
No.
They don't care about you. They don't care about Kurt Cobain. They don't need to whack Kurt Cobain. Is he a spy? Like, Hank Harrison and Courtney Love, in Europe, she was a prostitute. She used to do a bunch of drugs and go to all the raves and sell drugs. She probably did. Right. Does that make her CIA? Like, and Candace Owens brought this up. Well, Courtney wrote me, the CIA killed Kurt Cobain. Yeah, because she's saying that because she sees that Michelle Wilkins, Jason Jensen, and Chris Todd are out there. And so she's going to do her little spin her yarn, and she's going to go to somebody famous because she's an elitist and go, the CIA did it, and set Candace Owens off. And so she does that whole thing.
So it takes the heat off of her.
Yeah.
Or anything that she doesn't want people to start looking into.
It's an easy blame to blame MK Ultra.
Right. What do you think? Yeah. Sorry, I was going to say the only thing more fantastical than Courtney being pinpointed and found guilty with involvement would be the CIA being found guilty with involvement. Right. So why not direct it that way?
Right. It's kind of smart on her part, right? She knows Hank Harrison has this history. That's her dad who hated her. She hated her dad. She didn't give him any money. That's why he used to bitch about everything. And then he writes the book. And I think Matt Ricker met Hank Harrison. There was some people that, and this is how I know Hank didn't really know what happened. He didn't know who Joseph Burns was. He didn't know who Bonnie Dillard was. Why? See, if he thinks it's a murder, right, and he's going to accuse his own daughter, you better get your shit straight. You better know something nobody else knows. He never said Joseph or Bonnie or Callie or Renee or Jen Adamson or Lanigan, or Dylan, or Danny Clint Rich. Where? Why not? Because he didn't know. Same thing with Ian Halperin and Max Wallace, because they didn't know. See, they know there's a murder like Richard Lee. Remember Richard Lee? He's still around, I guess. I don't know why that guy doesn't pop out now. They knew something was up. Nick Broomfield interviewed Richard Lee, and they didn't use the footage because Richard Lee wouldn't sign the release. So, and he goes, do you think Kurt was murdered? Absolutely. Right. So these guys knew, the OGs knew something smelled fishy. They didn't know the extent because these 9 people at the house never said a word. They did misdirections. Some flew back to LA. Some went to rehab. Some stayed in Seattle. Courtney would leave weird messages with Tom Grant. Oh, I heard that the drug dealer, Joe and Bonnie are in LA. They never were in LA. They were still in Seattle. She's putting people in different places. Look, she's kind of a genius. I mean, dude, listen to her recordings, man. She'll confuse the shit out of anybody. It's easy, So, yeah.
And so do you think she's behind it?
So the way I say it, and to the beautiful Canadian audience, my friends up there, my God, please help us. Please help us. In Joseph's book, and the way I work, what I do is I don't say Courtney's name at all. Courtney's not there. She's at the peninsula. She's not at the murder scene. That's my theory. That's what I believe. Okay.
Right.
I'm not ever going to blame her for the murder. Could somebody come to me and go, do you think she whispered in Dylan's ear? Do you think she paid off Mark Lanigan when she paid him to go to rehab or gave him the rent money? Maybe. That's up to you. Why don't you guys go do it? Don't ask me. Because what I'm trying to do is get a book out there for the public to know. I'm trying to get a docuseries to go out to the public, right? I'm not going to say Courtney. She'll sue me. She could bury me. I can't beat her in court. Her lawyers, she's a huge law firm.
Right.
I'm not going to do that. You basically cut her off at the legs, right? Remove her. Get her out of the way. Tom's already said her name 50,000 times. Get her out of the way. Look at it from just the witness's perspective. And then if you end up smoking her out, right? Because now she's like, why aren't they talking about me? Oh, they don't think I was involved. Oh, I'll show them. Hey, Candace Owens, check out this email. See, man, these elites, man, they got a lot of power, dude. And I'm not going to say the Illuminati word, but she's friends with Prince Andrew. She's in the Epstein files.
We just talked about this.
Did you? Yeah.
Like they're all connected and it's sick.
They're all connected. Okay. Because it's money, power, and fame. It's a very small group. To preserve the group, they have to stay together. I'm not saying some of them don't go off the rails and destroy one, murder somebody. They do. The Hollywood eats their young. Epstein ate his young. You know what I mean? Metaphorically and all this. Like, they will destroy each other, right? The CIA will take down the FBI or vice versa with the CIA, the drugs, the Gary Webb, the cocaine. They will arrest themselves and kill off this guy to keep this budget over here. So it's like a game. I always say it's like a scrimmage. When you scrimmage your own teammates, right? So when the coach is the team there, okay, guys, let's get a scrimmage in. Everybody put the pads on and let's beat the crap out of each other, right? At the end of the day, we're all on the same team. But how are we going to hone our crafts like sparring and boxing? How are you going to, you got to spar somebody.
Right. You
don't have to hate them, but you need to punch somebody in the face and you need the best of the best. So these elites, it's Illuminati. It is. And I don't care how crazy I sound right now because I'm having fun with this.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Also me.
It's the Illuminati. It's the Bilderberger. It's all the elites, the Epstein, Prince Andrew, Weinstein connects, Gary Webb, the cocaine, Oliver North. You go back to Iran-Contra. Oh, who was involved in that? Jeff Epstein. Yeah. Oh, that's weird. Like, you see what I mean? Like the drugs, the women, the parties. Come on, dude. This is what guys want. They want pretty women. They want to do drugs, drink alcohol, and not work. And so if they already are rich and famous and have tons of money and nobody could figure out where Jeff Epstein even worked, right? He's worth $550 million. Where did he work? Oh, he worked for Les Wexner and doing what? Why did Les Wexner need him? He was a successful business. You know where I'm going. So, and I've seen this on other cases, and I had a guy who kind of taught me this. He goes, it's all going to connect. The Tupac case to Biggie, to Natalie Wood, to John Bonet. And I'm like, dude, slow down. He goes, no, watch. And it did.
Yeah.
because it's that click, man. It's that famous, yeah.
Well, and let's not forget, even going to Epstein, Epstein is not the first time that there has been a massive island with human trafficking and all sorts of crazy shit happening. Like you've got North Fox Island, and also I guess this is the perfect segue. Not an island involved, but the Franklin scandal.
Oh God, yeah. Well, let's get into it. Canada.
Let's do it.
Let's get into this. You're gonna love this, Nick Bryant. Nick, try to answer your phone sometime and respond to my emails. I know you're afraid of me. Anyway, okay, let's go. Go ahead. Let her rip.
Well, you have been looking into this, and it's recently, correct?
Oh, yeah, I got a Christmas gift for you. Oh, boy, do I got a good one for Alice.
Take it away.
Oh, God. It's going to be so good. Because I'm not supposed to say it. So it's even better. Okay, here we go. All right, let's do the quick backstory. Franklin cover-up. Lawrence King, John DeCamp. Nick Bryant was the OG. He investigated it. He knew Paul Benassi. He knew Rusty Nelson. Johnny Gosch got kidnapped in Iowa when he was 12 in 1982. And then Eugene Martin disappeared in 1984, 2 years later, and they were both paper boys. And Noreen Gosch spun a tale, and John Gosch Sr., he was involved. He was CIA, and he was Black Ops, and there was a child pedophile ring. And then when Paul Benassi told Noreen and her PIs, well, yeah, I saw Johnny Gosch. Yeah, I'm the one who kidnapped him. He came up to my chest. The problem was he was taller than you, Paul. And maybe you didn't know that. So when you told the Gosches, they already knew you were lying.
Oh, shit.
Right.
Wow.
Now watch this. I ain't even halfway there. So we got Henry Vincent and Craig Spence, and Paul got taken to the White House and slept with vice presidents and congressmen and Barney Frank and all these, and George Bush and this whole ring was going on, and Nick Bryant's the hero. And well, let's look a little closer. Well, what if I told you Johnny Gosch was still alive? And Eugene Martin.
Ooh.
Yeah, that'd be weird. And Rusty Nelson's still alive too. And John DeCamp's dead, so is Ted Gunderson. And what if somebody told you Ted Gunderson used to talk to Michael Aquino every day on the phone? That'd be weird. Why would Michael Aquino be talking to Ted Gunderson all the time like friends? So I thought the FBI rogue guy, Ted Gunderson, was investigating Satanism and all the little, Presidio and Kevin Collins at Bohemian Grove. And Paul saw this at Bohemian Grove, and a kid got killed. He was in a cage. And that was Kevin Collins. Oh, okay. So there's a guy who wrote a book. His name's Kevin Kuristin. And he wrote a book, and it says, The Edge of Sanity, The Boys with the Brands. And it's on Amazon. And supposedly it's written by Johnny Gosch and Eugene Martin and a guy named Jimmy Gibson, James Corey Alexander Gibson. And that's weird, because when I asked Henry Vincent, did you know Jimmy Gibson? He goes, yeah, I did. Well, this guy says there was a pedophilia ring and they kept Johnny Gosch alive, and Eugene's still alive. Oh, maybe it's true. So I implore people to go read this book, because supposedly Jimmy Gibson's doing a book with Trine Day, Chris Milligan out of Portland, Oregon, or Cottage Grove, wherever he is. And supposedly another book's going to come out, and that book's going to say Johnny Gosch is alive too.
Wow.
Yeah. So what that would mean is that the pedophilia ring was real. And Paul Benassi, maybe he did fib about being at the Johnny Gosch kidnapping. And when they blew Gary Caradori's plane out of the sky with his son on board, that really happened too. And why did they blow his plane out of the sky? Because he met with Rusty Nelson, and Rusty gave him a bunch of pictures of politicians bleeping children. And when he got back in his plane, and why did he bring his kid? Because he figured they wouldn't kill his kid. But what did they do? They killed his kid.
Yeah, they did.
Because they don't give a fuck. You don't play with them at all. And they scattered the pieces, and the FBI came and whatever. Look, I'm not saying stuff that's not necessarily known, but nobody knows that Kevin Kirsten has a book that supposedly letters are from Johnny Gosch and Eugene Martin, and also Scott Cleeschulte, who was kidnapped, I believe, out of Missouri. God, I hope I'm getting the state right. Look up Scott Cleeschulte. Oh, he's still alive? What's going on? And nobody knew this. And when America's Most Wanted did the thing with Jimmy Gibson, and he lifted up his pant leg and he showed a brand on his ankle with the rocking cross, and he was with Paul Benassi, and the two of them slept together. Wow, that's weird. Were those guys MK Ultra? Well, Jimmy Gibson says they were. And it says it in the book. So who's running the show? Is it a continuation from Lawrence King, from the Franklin cover-up, from Omaha, Boys Town? Right. Was Nick Bryan onto it? Yes. Does he know who Henry Vincent was? The DC Madam? Yes. And Henry wrote a book and told us that Craig Spence was either murdered or committed suicide in a tuxedo in a hotel in Boston, I believe, or DC.
Right.
Start looking these people up. So what I'm saying is, go check out that book, The Edge of Sanity, The Boys with the Brands, and go look up Jimmy Gibson. Google Jimmy Gibson Trine Day, Trine. And look, they're not going to be mad that I'm promoting their books. Jimmy's hasn't come out yet. You know, Jimmy wanted to send me a letter, and I got a request from a federal prison in Kentucky. I didn't respond to him. And then I asked one of his friends who's a source and said, oh, he wanted to give you a piece of his mind. Oh, really? From a federal penitentiary? What's that going to do? Well, he thinks, you don't believe him. I don't. Well, do you believe Kevin when he says in the book that Johnny Gosch's been sending him letters since 2008?
This is wild.
It's fucking crazy. Now watch this. I saw the letters. Yeah. So when I met Kevin Kirsten, because he actually lives near me in Southern California, I saw his name and I pulled his background, and he lived not down the street, but a drive, right? Like close. I'm like, wait, this guy lives near me. I called him up. He picked up his phone, and the rest is history. And I met him in a park, and he brought 3 binders with him. And in these binders were letters in all different handwriting. And at the bottom, one would say Johnny, and then one would say Jimmy, and then one would say Gene for Eugene Martin, and one would say Scott Cleeschulte. Well, that's weird. So, but now the postulation or the theory would be, did Jimmy Gibson write all these letters in his own handwriting because he is an MK Ultra child-like programmer, whatever you want to call him? Did he pen them in different left hand, right hand? Maybe, but I know I saw them, and they are in different handwriting, and they do exist. And Kevin took those letters and transcribed them word for word into a book. You'll see it. If you go Google it right now, it's on Amazon right now.
I will be buying this book immediately.
You will, because even reading it, I have it. I used to keep it right by my bed for months. Kevin's a good guy. They're trying to bash him and oh, he's making this up, and oh, he's in love with Jimmy, and he was a stalker. Dude, I don't care what he is. He was a journalist who took what they told him, and he took it to heart and published their letters for them. If Johnny's dead, and Eugene's dead, and Mark Allen's dead, the 3 boys from Iowa, they never found these kids' bodies, ever. So where are they? So it's easy to say like, oh, they're probably dead. Yeah, Kevin's, Kevin, I know Kevin didn't write the letters because I saw Kevin's handwriting. It's fucking terrible. And the letters that Jimmy would send are pretty nice handwriting to him. So I know Kevin didn't fucking write them. And so my thing with Kevin always was too, and for you guys is to say this, even if Jimmy's full of shit and Noreen's full of shit, Okay. What happened to Johnny Gosch and Eugene and Mark Allen? Were they in a ring? This all ties into Franklin cover-up, to the Franklin scandal. It's right through the same years.
Well, not only that, but why isn't somebody looking, like, why is law enforcement not looking into this? This is insane.
They sort of are. I did have a conversation with one guy, and Kevin's kind of bugged some of these people, and they say they are, but they've never actually like driven to the prison where Jimmy is and actually sat with them. So they kind of leave it open, like they think he's kind of a crank, right? They think he's like obsessed with Johnny and Eugene because he's been talking about this literally. You have to go back and watch the America's Most Wanted. The producer's name was Paul Sparrow. Paul's a good guy. He's actually pretty approachable. I spoke to him. He goes, I did meet Jimmy Gibson. That is a real person. I go, it is. Okay. He goes, yeah, I met Paul Benassi and we took him to the Colorado house. I go, is that real? He goes, yeah, he was in the thing. He was crying, remember? I go, yeah, you were there. He goes, I filmed it. I was the producer. I go, okay. He goes, well, we never could find out who owned that home. I go, well, was it a movie set? Like Jimmy Gibson said you guys made it up and it was a movie set. He goes, we didn't make it up. He goes, we drove around in the town and Paul kept saying there's a rock that looks like an elephant and we need to go, and we finally found it. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, and then when he went in the basement, right? And he said, this is where we used to hide when the people would come over. And he's crying in the beginning. And he's like, I can't go in there. Like, so the beauty of what Nick Bryant could do is look into Kevin Kirsten, Nick. Contact him. Look, I think Nick's done with the story, right? He's on Epstein. You know, Epstein kind of evolved like kind of out of that, because if you put Epstein with the in the 80s with the Iran Contra, you need to look closely at what's up there, right? Remember the late 70s, early 80s, mid 80s. This is when the Franklin thing was rip roaring in Nebraska.
Right.
So yeah,
And
you should look into that.
I find it, and actually I would like your take on this. I do find it, very, let's say, coincidental,
Right.
that during that same time frame, and even into, like the beginning and somewhat later years of Epstein, there was other major crime rings that were exposed. And I say crime ring, what I mean is human trafficking rings that were
Finders.
exposed. And the finders. And then also, and I don't know how much Americans know about the Canadian side, but there was two major busts in Canada. One was called Project Jericho and the other one was Project Truth. And they took place in Cornwall, Ontario and Preston, Ontario. And they were right along the St. Lawrence River.
Okay.
And that is a huge channel. So coming from Halifax, this channel is known for human trafficking. Right. And this is where, like, both towns had hundreds of cases of this and very prominent figures charged in relation to these two incidents. And then you also have the Lost Boys of Pickering that vanished without a trace right on Lake Ontario.
Yeah, I was new to that. I did watch that. What was the other one I was going to connect to this? You just triggered it and now it's slipping my mind. Oh, the Candyman, Dean Coral. So,
oh my gosh, yes.
So Dean Coral with John Gacy, the clown and the Candyman, right?
Yes.
And they connect John David Norman. And guess who they talk about in the Johnny Gosh? John David Norman. See?
Well, and Roy Ames was also heavily involved in that as well.
Yes. He was the one distributing the pornography to California.
And don't forget when they raided, I believe it was David Norman, they ended up finding, what was it, like 30,000 names of prominent politicians and celebrities. It was like the black book, right? And then they had it destroyed because they said, oh, it's not important.
Cards. Yeah. He had index cards and there were literal catalogs of the boys, right? Underage. John David Norman is mentioned a lot in the Dean Corll and the Gacy connection there, but also in the Johnny Gosch and the Eugene Martin and the Franklin, all of it. He most likely is black op. Okay, period. The CIA, whatever you want to call it, they're never going to tell you they're CIA.
Right.
And I even had this weird conversation once with John Carricayo. I can't even say his name. Carrico.
Yep.
He sent a weird email one time saying, oh, it's illegal for the government, the U.S. government, to spy on Israel, so we never spy on Israel. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, why are you even saying that? First of all, that's not true. That'd be like saying that our government, he's obviously a plant, right? Because our government spies on everyone. We wouldn't never not spy on Israel and let them spy on us.
Not only that, but when has the government ever cared if they do something illegal? I'm old enough to remember that they experimented on unsuspecting citizens in both the US and Canada for MK Ultra, right at McGill University. They don't care.
Yeah, and at Mountain Home Base, and there was the San Francisco. There was, that's what I mean. That's why when he emailed me that, I'm like, dude, are you serious? I go, look, jump on the phone with me. Wouldn't do it. Just like Nick Bryant won't get on the phone. It's fine, whatever. I don't care. Whether they're elitist or they're tired, they're older guys. A lot of these guys are like grumpy. Like, it's fine. I don't care. But don't give me some bullshit and say, like, in the heart of the Epstein shit, when everybody's watching with their own two fucking eyes, that he's Mossad or CIA, period. And then you're this famous ex-CIA guy and you come out and you're telling me, who you probably barely know who I am, you're telling me, no, the government's not allowed to spy on Israel. Get the fuck out of here, dude.
Well said. Well said.
But this is what I deal with.
You can't be put any more simpler than you just put it. Like, you can't be put any more simpler.
It's like, dude, everyone's watching, John, on TV every minute. They just sent, and look, you got to give our government some credit. I know everybody's like, oh, everything's fucking redacted. Look at these pages. Everything's redacted. Hey, guys, guess what? They didn't have to show you shit. They didn't have to give you one document. Take what they gave you. Oh, they're releasing the names of the victims. Too bad. You know why? I'll tell you why it's too bad. Because when those women go up there and they parade on fucking Good Morning America, and here they come, and they're telling us to say, hey, ladies, can you tell us who did it? Why won't you say it? Because you can't. Because you made millions of fucking dollars. It's fucking stupid. I'm sorry. And I'm sorry if I'm upsetting you. I'll ask you. I'll turn the table on you. Do you guys like seeing 30 abused former models go up, do a press conference, suck the media dry every minute, go in front of Congress, and don't tell us anyone's names?
I'll answer first. No. Listen, I feel for everybody that was impacted by that entire thing, but I also don't appreciate that Ghislaine Maxwell has been in prison for, it's over 1,000 days at this point. Last I checked, it was 1,122 days, and not a single person has been arrested. So she's the first person I've ever heard of that has been thrown in jail for trafficking, at this point, hundreds of children to absolutely nobody.
Yeah. That's a great point. Right. It's like, and then Maureen Comey was the one who did this investigation, who also was part of the Sean Combs fake RICO case. But here, let's go back to Ghislaine. Right. She gets moved. Todd Blanche sets it up. Trump gives the okay. Ship her. She wants to get a nicer prison. Right. So we're going to ship her out. Her interview is a joke. It is disgraceful how she lied. Clinton got up there, he lied. Bill Gates is going to go up there, he lies. Then we're going to get Les Wexner, he lies. Now we're getting Leon Black, he lies. And you made the perfect point. She is in there for trafficking, or maybe they changed her thing like it's underage prostitution. I don't know if it's trafficking or not, but right, there's no clientele.
Not a single one other than Prince Andrew. Like,
well, he got arrested, but not even for that. It's not even really.
Exactly.
Epstein had this insatiable desire that every minute of every day he had to get off.
Yep.
Yeah, it's disturbing.
And he recorded every single room and had it all mic'd up just for himself.
And when they raided his place in New York, no one's ever seen those tapes at all.
Also, they raided the island and then left a bunch of files there and were like, yeah, if you guys could just ship us back those files. Like, what? So you're gonna go into somebody's house. Like, let's just put this into perspective. You have an axe murderer who you have now caught. He's guilty of killing like 15 people. We've caught him. You go to his house and his housekeeper is there and you rip through everything. And at the end of it, you're like, hey, we can't take these. Can you just send them to us? What?
What's funny is, remember the guy, he was the butler and he went to jail. He did more jail time than Epstein did.
Are we talking about Alfredo?
He was Hispanic or Spanish. Yes. Right? So he went to jail for years, right? He had to literally go to jail. He's the one who brought the black book and circled the names. He circled Courtney Love's name and he circled the names. And then they thought he was trying to sell it. So they arrested him. They did a state operation. It's like, guys, do you care about what he's fucking saying? How obvious it is that you're covering it up for Epstein, that he's getting in more trouble than Epstein is. It's crazy.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Alice Falling is brought to you by The Based Company. Check out our line of Awake t-shirts made in Alberta, Canada, and explore a world of hidden knowledge and declassified documents. Visit us at estunknown.co.
And now, back to the Alice Falling podcast.
The whole thing is insane. And the sickest part about it, and the part I think that makes me the most angry, is they know that we know. They know that we know that they're all in on it. And they know that we cannot do anything about it. They can do whatever they want. And we can talk about it on the internet and we can talk about it on podcasts and we can do all these things. But nobody is ever going to be in trouble because they're all in on it.
Yeah, I mean, I would be really interested to see if Les Wexner ever gets arrested. Leon Black literally has a civil case of him abusing a 16-year-old, or she was even younger initially. Jesus. They're holding his case up as the appeal precedent. They can't even move forward on the Sean Combs civil lawsuits because they're still arguing about Leon Black's case. Is he going to ever go to jail? Wexner, Bill Gates, are any of them ever going to get in trouble at all for even just prostitution? Even if you remove the trafficking and or underage, what about prostitution? Nothing? Right. Not even 6 months? So, but I will say this. This will sound weird, but I like to get weird. Let me say this. When you have like a beast, right, with huge fangs, our government, the institutions, kind of like what John DeCamp talked about in Conspiracy of Silence, right? These are major American institutions, right? We're talking, and then they shelve that documentary, the BBC or Discovery. They kill it last minute. Now it's on YouTube. You can watch it today. When you have a beast like that, Pam Bondi, Donald Trump, Todd Blanche, Department of Defense, DOJ, Epstein, Mossad, Netanyahu, if they let you in just a little bit, I'll take it. I know we want everybody to go down and we want to burn the whole city to the ground. I truly believe, as much as I hate Pam Bondi, I truly believe they showed us what they were willing to show us. They told us enough, right? They're basically saying it's real. You're not crazy, right? He is intelligence. They knew in Florida, right? Even the guy said it, right? Costa, right?
Yeah.
He was. They knew it was. He did his 2 years. He went home at night or in jail at night and left in the day. And so to me, I'm just not one of those people where I'm like, let's burn them all to the ground. Like, I'm glad we have the files. I know there's more. Maybe more will come out. Bill Clinton sat there and was interrogated. Hillary Clinton was. They were put on camera. So I think it might be just the best we get. And I'm okay with it. I'm not saying you have to be. But for me, I'm like, hey, look, to me, they're proving it's real. John DeCamp was a hero. He kind of fibbed about stuff. Ted Gunderson, yes. Troy Bonner, Paul Benassi, Alicia Owen. You know, it's sad, but, you know, sex makes the world go round. So does money. And unfortunately, some people, to them, their drug is underage victims. It is. That's really what it is for them. So
it is, and it's a huge business. I mean, if you've watched oh gosh, what was the documentary with not documentary, it was a movie with Jim Caviezel.
Oh yeah, Sound of Freedom.
Yes, thank you. I mean, it's a big business, and they give some stats on it at the beginning and end of that blew my mind. You know,
Yeah,
it spans into Canada too. Like, if you look into Epstein and Clinton, they have some very good friends over here in Canada. The Bronfmans, Frank Stronach is just now going through court for what he's done to multiple women. We've got Peter Nygard with Nygard K. This is not isolated to the U.S.
You have
It's
Dubin. Was it Glenn Dubin? What's his name? Isn't he Canadian? Dubin.
Glenn.
You know
Dubin.
him?
No.
Epstein was in love with his daughter, and he wanted to marry her. I think it's Dubin. You can go watch Ryan D. His name is Ryan Dawson. He's on with Sean Atwood a lot. He goes crazy on Epstein. He knows a lot. Epstein dated like Dubin's wife and then fell in love with the daughter. The wife, the mom was going to pony up the daughter to Epstein. Yeah, you can look it up.
Eva
Oh, yeah.
Anderson Dubin.
There's Glenn Dubin. Glenn. You need to look up like Glenn Dubin.
Yes, it says Eva Anderson Dubin previously dated Jeffrey Epstein on and off during the 1980s before marrying Glenn Dubin.
That's him. Now,
And the family remained close to Epstein even after his 2008 conviction. Wild.
Yeah, they ponied up the daughter to him. So he dated. He gave. Okay, look. I mean, the government could send a missile through my window, like I'm sitting. I'm kind of looking like Dave. I'm kind of like looking out my window, and I'm just like I can see. Like it could just come straight in.
What angle is it going to come at?
Yeah, it could just come like at a 22-degree angle. But here's my point. Let me say it this way. And Donald Trump's kind of a badass, and like I don't think Donald Trump gives a fuck what Chris Todd says. So how did Donald Trump meet his wife? She's pretty. She's a model. She's from Eastern Europe. I'm not saying she was pimped to him, right? That's not what I'm saying. But let's look at what that relationship is, right? Okay. Well, what did Epstein do for Dubin? Oh, he found a pretty model and he married her, right? And so there's these other men too. And how did Leon Black get the young girl there? And how did Bill Gates get the Russian prostitutes there? Are you seeing the pattern?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So what it is it's a gray area, because if they're of age, say they're 22 years old, and they're beautiful and they're tall and they come from Jean-Luc, what's his name, who died, Luc, whatever, in France.
Brunel.
Right?
Jean-Luc Brunel.
Yeah, Brunel. Oh, what happened to Brunel? Oh, okay, he's gone. And so they're using the modeling agencies because the girls are pretty, they're young, they're tall, They have the fetish for these girls. And what do model girls like? They need jobs. They need money. They have to have runways. And who's the predator at the runway? Jeff Epstein, Bill
Right.
Gates, Donald Trump. Like it's the clique, right? They're all at the things that God gave us. Like if we say woman is God's gift to man, well, Jeff Epstein was obviously obsessed with women, right? You know the Emma Rossum thing? He was obsessed with Emmy Rossum, whatever her name is. You know that story?
No.
The actress. He's obsessed with her. He kept trying to take her to lunch. He's trying to sleep with her. Like he locks in on these. He basically has like an insatiable appetite, right? Basically,
Right.
I mean, come on. How many massages do you need a day? I mean,
Seriously.
come on. Like it's just how many times can you do this with women? Like just every day he's doing this? I thought he had a job. I thought he was a rich guy who made all this money. And that guy, who is that? Eric Weinstein, the mathematician guy from Harvard.
Mhm.
He brought a lot of this up early on, and so did Nick Bryant. These guys were talking about Epstein as he's fake. He's not a real person. He's an asset.
Mhm.
He didn't have a job. Oh, he worked at Bear Stearns for a couple of years, and then Les Wexner trusted his entire estate with him. It's like what?
Everything.
Right. Oh, he signed power of attorney to him. Why?
Yeah.
Why? He doesn't have any advisors of a guy who didn't graduate college. And I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And, you know, sometimes I look up to criminals in a way because for me, when I do investigations or tell stories or write a book or do something, I kind of have to be inside their mind, right? I can't always just come at them. It's just, to me, it's too one-sided, right? The mafia guys impressed me too, how they got away with shit. I mean, Epstein, in a way, I mean, Jesus, it's kind of impressive of how he got away with this. They're trying to rip up the Zorro Ranch right now. Now New Mexico is suing the government saying, you guys are blocking. Oh, really? Shocker.
Right.
Like, they're blocking the investigation. There might be bodies buried out there. Dude, this guy, like, you know, driving on the island, the guy looks like he doesn't have a care in the world. Epstein.
Yeah.
I mean, you just look at his demeanor. Does anybody pick up on that? He looks like he knows he can't be touched.
Cool as a cucumber at all times.
Yeah.
Even during his interviews, I've watched them so many times and it blows my mind.
Right.
Just that he's so like nonchalant and like you are one of the biggest criminals ever with involvement in human trafficking and you would never know.
And then when he goes to jail, now we can do the quick thing and this might be interesting for you guys. You know, he goes to jail like a normal person in the jumpsuit and he's put in a prison cell with Nicholas Tartaglione, who supposedly murdered 4 drug cartel members and was a cop. Now, why would you put him in the prison with him? Now, if he's an asset and everyone knows he is, why is he going in a cell with a convicted quad murderer?
Right.
Why? Did you want him to get killed? See, there's a lot of speculation that Nicholas killed Epstein for the government. And eventually they're going to let Nick out. Not yet, right? Wait till Trump's on the way out. Maybe a little pardon's coming his way because he had some weird evidence. Maureen Comey prosecuted him. That's weird. There she is again. Why is Maureen Comey doing Tartaglione? Oh, and then she did Ghislaine Maxwell. Oh, okay. And then she did Diddy. And I know she's, you know, Southern District, New York, whatever. So, and I think that's when Epstein was a little nervous because when you see him walking in some of that footage, I think he knew his time was up. I think at that moment when he was cuffed and put in that orange jumpsuit and he was put in that hellhole in New York, I think he knew he was gone. Supposedly he wrote a suicide note that Nicholas Tartaglione finally released after 9 years. You can look that up. So
Interesting.
yeah, it's, you know, he was a good looking guy. He had money. He had connections. I don't know what everybody saw in him. I'm sorry. You know, the interview with whatever the Republican guy's name was, Steve Bannon, right?
Yep.
And I knew a guy, Steve Bannon has all this footage of Epstein, won't release it, won't show it. We've seen only clips of it. You know, you hear Epstein talk and, you know, women have intuition, you know, they're smarter than men. And I'm just looking at this guy and I'm like, we're holding this guy up on a pedestal because he just said women have intuition. Like we've never heard that before. And this is what Eric Weinstein is talking about. When I met him, he seemed fake. He didn't have like something to contribute. He wasn't a pilot. He wasn't really a mathematician. But he's at Harvard and he's with Dershowitz and he's with Bill Gates. And
Stephen Hawking's.
Yeah, Stephen Hawking, however you say his name. I don't know what that was going on with that. I mean, there's some weird stories about that. But yeah,
sorry to interrupt. The most recent thing that I got thrown at me when I was just diving into something like this was his actual worth to people that you just mentioned, like your Epstein, the worth like your Gateses and your Dershowitzes and whatnot. He was taught by, and I don't remember the lawyer's name, how to hide money very effectively,
right,
and how to make it disappear through what was it, like the Cook Islands, and then after you go to the Cook Islands, you have to go to the actual source that's up in Switzerland, and then Switzerland has all these stupid laws where after your initial deposit into a bank, that has to be money that was taxed on. Secondary, third, fourth, and however many other deposits after that, you don't even have to like have proof of where this money came from, and nobody can look at it.
Right. And where's he learning that from? Bear Stearns.
Right.
Right. And so, or Goldman Sachs, right? Or Lehman Brothers. Like it's all part of the system. The mafia did the same thing. The Isle of Man, that was a place they used to hide money. They had some weird laws there. The Cayman Islands, right?
Yep.
Offshore. They're all in on it, right? So if you find the loophole, but Jeff Epstein's not the only dude that knows how to do that, right?
Yeah.
But what I truly believe, if somebody really like put my feet to the fire, he's either CIA and Mossad together, right? Or he's one of them with permission from the other side. I'm not accusing him of being like he's Mossad and Israel's behind all this pedophilia. I'm not. What I'm saying is he is tied in. He has protection. All the other big names, the banks, the Bank of London, the Fed Reserves, they're all tied together in Europe and they go, you know what I mean? Like he has the protection. They like him enough. He keeps a good secret. He's good looking. He has the same vices they do, young women, right? So he can be trusted. And you know, I can't, you know, the magic he has from there, you know, I never met him. I'm not going to ever meet him. He obviously had the touch, as sick as it sounds. I'm sorry. You know, the devil has the touch too. Yeah. Let's be honest.
Well, and having people in place like that for, you know, things like political blackmail and stuff like that, like that's not new. They were doing that in the Blue Room at the Plaza Hotel way back when too.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
If you read, I mean, obviously, I'm sure you've heard of Whitney Webb, and she did some extensive research on it.
She goes off.
And she's done some amazing research. Her books, One Nation Under Blackmail, like it's wild. I remember my mind just being blown when I was reading them. So
she's done an amazing job, and she's in the crosshairs. Okay. And you know, they do this thing where Israel, they want to go after Dan Bilzerian. You know, Israel will put out this top 10 anti-Semite list. Bilzerian will be up there. Candace Owens, Alex Jones. Like, look, it's kind of an interesting game that we all play. Not we. I don't have any power like these people do. But this is a dangerous game that they're playing. It's a chessboard, right? The whole world's like a chess game. And so they're moving the pieces, Whitney Webbs of the world, the Alex Jones, the Tucker Carlsons, the Candace Owens, right? They come out and they say, this is what these people are doing. It's illegal. It's wrong. And they kind of stick their neck out. Then they get vilified. They're crazy. That's all bullshit. That's conspiracy. The record industry wasn't run by the mafia. The ha ha ha. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so sometimes when you have this fantastical or fanciful, it almost protects it more, right? Kind of like JFK. How many shooters were there? There were 4 teams. What? Like, they were bringing. Gary Webb found out they were bringing drugs out of Nicaragua into L.A. What? Like, so the crazier it sounds, it almost protects it, right?
Right.
So
right.
That's what I mean. Like the Epstein thing, they can release redacted shit, send you 6 pages all redacted because they know you're going to go run and do 30 stories about it. And you're going to talk about it. And they're going to hand you the binders and they're going to give them to Jessica Reed Krause and the Hodge twins. And they're going to walk out and go, we got the Epstein binders. Oh my God. But there's nothing in there.
Exactly.
It's a game. It's a chess game. And it's kind of entertainment to people too. Look, you're doing your stuff, you know, you're trying to expose this or that. And I do the same thing. I think someone had the stat of by 2030, they think 90% of the population will have their own podcast. Like, whoa, that's a frightening thought. Like every human's going to have a podcast on YouTube. And I mean, how are you going to watch it all? But yeah, Epstein, and this is my last thing I'll say about Epstein. And the Eric Weinsteins of the world and the other people who've been critical of Epstein, like the Whitney Webbs, and I don't think he was capable of it either. Because like we're saying, he's so casual. He's just so chill. I mean, did he get trained at Quantico? Like, did he go to Daniel Hopsicker's CIA school of the sleight of hand down at the... Did you ever see the 9/11 Mohammed Atta and the Flying Circus? The CIA was taught the sleight of hand. They go to clown school to teach you deception. So my point is, was Jeff Epstein a trained Navy Black Ops SEAL? Like, I don't see it. So I think he had either a handler, right? Or he's got a monster above him. Yeah. That he answers to. I don't know who that is, right? But there's somebody or something above him like, don't worry about it, you good. And then look.
He kind of told us, the Rothschilds.
Did he really? Well.
Yeah. In one of the emails, he says, as you may know, to Peter Thiel, I represent the Rothschilds.
Yeah.
And that's quite a beast because they have more gold. Okay, their family, the banking institution, has enough gold to feed and clothe the world for 30 years, where nobody would have to work a minute. And yeah, I mean, these are weird stats that you can see too. And all the central banks, the Bank of London has a lot of power, and this is the Rothschild, the 5 sons, and we get it. Look, okay, it's a great story. There's movies about it. You know, it's part of the history and lore. But there's something, but let's say this, they do go down, right? Because his number came up. He was in the jackpot.
Right.
They took him out. They took Brunel out too. Because
they have to have a fall guy, right?
They have to. Diddy was kind of the fall guy for the Hollywood kind of hip hop trafficking world of the underage girls, the Bieber tape, you know, all the stuff that's circulating now about Diddy, that was the same thing. He was the fall guy. And I guarantee you, if he started to sing like a canary, he would have been found hanging from his bunk too. Okay. So these things go on, and Diddy kind of represented a different side of it, but there's some crossover with Epstein and Diddy. If you look really close, Naomi Campbell.
Yep.
Okay. So, yeah. And look, will it ever stop? Probably not. Are there ways to have protections? Yes. You know, will there be another Harvey Weinstein? Yes. Can there be less of him because of the work people like you do? Yes. Okay. So you're trying to make those dents. You know what I mean? You're trying
Yeah.
to save. That's why we do cold case investigations. We're trying to save 1 or 2 lives. If I can expose a murderer and he doesn't kill somebody else, I save someone else's life.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Right. And so, yeah, I don't know if you have any other thoughts on the Epstein thing or how that ties, but
Well, I think we covered everything and more.
yeah, we went pretty hard.
I think you're right. I think people like you, myself, I know I've been into this human trafficking now for several years and trying to shed light on it. I've gone back and looked at, a few cases, even just here in Canada, that I don't buy what the narrative is. And, they've ended up being something much bigger. And I think it's important to have the voices, no matter what country you're in, because you're right. It hopefully will save even one life. And
Right.
I think it's important to raise so much awareness on it, so that people do understand the signs and they're calling it out when they see it, or making that call, to the police. Hopefully the police aren't in on it. But it's important. And, that's why we do this podcast. And, I know I heard about you when you were, I'd seen a video of you, talking about Diddy. And I think the work that you do is so important. I think the work that Nick Bryant has done is so important. Whitney Webb, there's many of you guys, that we're aware of over here on this side of the border. Right. So, it has been absolutely awesome to get to talk to you about all this. This went on a lot longer than what all three of us thought.
At the beginning of this, when we said 1 hour, in my head, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's just, it's been fantastic to talk to you. I do, though, want to give you...
In a good way. Sorry to interrupt. In a good way. Sorry.
I do want to give you just a second to, as much time as you want, just to tell everybody about your books. Where can they find you on social media? And then obviously, send me the links so that we can add it to the episode. But take it away and tell everybody.
Yeah, I mean, you can put the links. I can text you some of my key books that are out now. I've helped ghostwrite some books. I have another ghostwriter that just did a very unique book about the West Memphis child murders. That book is out by Sheila Hicks, who is the aunt of Stevie Branch. And that book is called A Family's Cry for Justice, Killer Revealed. It's on Amazon. I'd love to promote that for her. A lot of my books are on Amazon. To Kurt, I'm Sorry by Joseph Burns. Smells Like Heaven, which is kind of a fictionalized version of Kurt's murder that I did. That's by Chris Todd. Some of my books, like the Kim Porter book from Diddy, and my Hollywood is Burning Locust or Shame on Shay. Some of those books are on my website, which is called silvercoastpros.com. And pros is just PROS, like professionals, silvercoastpros.com. So they can go there. My information's online. You can find me. My main email that I use when I do this is called hopscotchfree101@gmail. All one word, hopscotchfree, FREE, and the number's 101@gmail. But you Google Chris Todd investigator, Chris Todd murders. You'll see my emails, my phone number is public, and I always am open to talking to anybody. I'm not like a Twitter guy, and I'm not like an Instagram guy. I'm more just Google me, look me up. My interviews, I always give my email. And the books are key, but the investigations and the podcasts are important too. So I appreciate you guys doing that, and I think we can do more stuff in the future. And, send me any links when they're up in little shorts, and have fun with it. Do what you want to do with it. And it is important for what you're doing. And I think kind of God gives us all a role, right? Some of us are a smaller role to expose something. Some of us are bigger. So I say, keep doing what you're doing. Your thing can only grow from here. And anytime you need my help, you reach out anytime.
That's fantastic. Chris, thank you so much. This has truly been a pleasure to talk with you and go over so much more than what we even expected. So thank you so much for your time. Dave,
and I have one more thing before Dave says it. Now I have one demand. I'm gonna lean on you now.
Sure.
I need one or two of those shorts to have your song in it.
For sure.
So I better see me with that song somewhere, because I love that song.
100%.
Absolutely.
Sweet.
100%. No, for real. Chris, you're a real one. I really enjoy how you, on the real note, just give your points and give both views on how things might have happened, even though if that's not the view where your investigation went, even through the chat we just had right now, you're just like, so let's play the other side. And you kind of just go into the other person's head that might be listening and saying, I know what you might be thinking, so let's entertain that thought and just kind of bring it all together. You keep it real when you can say something for sure, when you're saying something that is hypothetical. And you know what? Just, looking forward to having you back. It was good talking to you.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. And I look forward to seeing what you do with it and your next stuff for sure.
Awesome. All right. Well, that is a wrap, everyone. Thank you for joining us today, and we will talk to you on the next episode. Bye, everyone.
Take care.
Alice falling down the rabbit hole. Alice falling out past what you know.